Hello, everybody, and welcome to our every Sunday's afternoon session on 1MD Live. Today, as well, we have Dr. Joshi and Dr. Shetty, as always, to guide us through these difficult times of COVID, giving us the authentic information that we require to to be guided in these tough times, as well as put a little smile, as Dr. Shetty always does. So I would just have Dr. Shetty first. I'll roll the intro and I'll have him give us what has happened over the last 1 week, and then we will go and ask Dr. Joshi what is happening in the vaccine world, and then we will go with the questions. So I'm gonna go in for the breaking news.
70. Well, this is the story of a 73-year-old grandfather who has a YouTube channel, Watercolor. His name is beautiful Harumichi Shibasaki. This gentleman has taken the YouTube by storm during COVID times. So he says that he has 7 lakh subscribers, and he says when it comes to drawing a tree, people generally focus on the fact that there are many leaves, but I advise them to observe not individual leaves but the bigger silhouette of the tree. And what has happened is during COVID times, his YouTube channel has been oversubscribed and has many million viewers. Now he says that in YouTube, this is a new medium to teach people painting, but the outbreak of COVID has brought new meaning to the entire channel. Technology has made my life worth living, and the artist says, I realized that there are more people who say their hearts were healed or they were energized watching my video than those who just desire to be good at painting. Therefore, my mind has changed. I hope to play a role not only in making these videos to improvise people's watercolor skills, but in healing people's hearts through painting. Shibashaki's soothing and encouraging tone has helped to support people during these tough times. The comments are, you gave power to live today. You helped me forget my pain. So, my dear friends, it's so important to understand that even doing simple watercolor is a great stress buster. It's not only a stress buster, it provides meaning and healing in an era where people talk about fear, uncertainty, and death. A lot of innovations have happened across the world, and this is one of them. So if you feel down, if you feel meaningless, just pick up a simple watercolor, get a drawing page, and start coloring whatever you like. That may really change your moods and help you to think better and feel better. How to train your mind to lower your anxiety? There's a beautiful article, and what is very important is mindfulness helps. Settle down into the present. A simple practice is sit comfortably in a quiet place, close your eyes, take slow breath, and as you breathe, relax your shoulders, let it go down. And as you do that again, identify your thoughts. Notice what thoughts your mind is telling you. Is it saying you're going to fail? Bad things are going to happen, that you won't be able to cope with it? Whatever is the story, identify those thoughts and write it down. And as you write down the part, remember, don't skip the step. There's something about getting the thoughts literally out of your head and putting on paper helps you to deal with them more objectively. At that point of time, understand there's a surge of anxiety. Stop and ask yourself, what thought just went through my mind? Most likely, the anxiety you feel makes sense given the thought you add. Slowly, slowly ask yourself, look at the alternative. Say, for example, I feel I'm going to get COVID. Alternative, the chances of me getting COVID is very less because I'm practicing all what I'm supposed to practice. I might develop a mild case and recover without complication. These are the alternative thoughts that come, and rewire your mind by talking about these alternative thoughts. And you don't have to make yourself believe in the alternative, just allow the alternative to be there. Don't try to convince yourself, and that is very, very important. If you can do this, my dear friends, occasionally you will find yourself managing anxious thoughts by looking at the alternatives along with deep breath, and your mind will struggle but always help you to bring down your anxiety and start looking at irrational thoughts in the manner that it should be dealt with.
Oh, beautifully explained, Dr. Shetty. And in today's topic's name, it's resilience versus rebellion. So thank you so much for that breaking news. And Dr. Joshi, your breaking news now.
So thank you, Dr. Anirudh. Dr. Shetty, Guru Anna has very beautifully laid the foundation of mind, anxiety, mindfulness with his diabetically sweet smile and charm. And the charmer of Dr. Shetty is so well felt that we move back to the science world of COVID. And in the science world of COVID, the breaking news is that vaccine, vaccine, and vaccine. So the big question which everybody was asking is how the vaccine will be prioritized. And this came out with the government of India that the National Working Group on Vaccination, led by Professor Vinod Paul, came out with the big three. The vaccine rollout priority groups will be the healthcare workers. We have 1 crore healthcare providers, both in government and private sector. The frontline workers, which have around 2 crore personnel from state and central police department, armed forces, home guard, civil defense organizations, and prioritize age groups, which is another 27 crore people above the age 50 and persons associated with comorbidities. So this National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID has prioritized these three big groups as population groups for the COVID vaccination program. Now, the biggest question is which vaccine which will be available in India. And if you look at the Indian landscape of the vaccines, leading up the pecking order, though not make in India, but is made in India, though not innovated in India, is the Covishield, which is a adenovector chimpanzee vaccine, which is being made for the world at the Serum Institute in Pune. The Oxford University has discovered this vaccine. It is doing a combined phase 2, phase 3 trials. They applied last week for an emergency use authorization on Wednesday. They met the subject expert group committee and they have not got approval anywhere on planet Earth for an emergency use authorization. Their phase 1 data is published, their phase 2 data is published, their efficacy in the high dose is 62%, in the low dose, surprisingly, is around 90%. But that's not the Indian trial. Their trials were done in United Kingdom, Brazil and South Africa, and they had a pause in the US trial. However, probably the Indian Drug Control Journal of India appointed a subject expert group which looked at this vaccine data very crucially. They wanted more data on the immunogenicity and the virus neutralization antibody for this particular vaccine, or if any other regulator like UK or any other European Union country or Canada or USA approve the vaccine, then they would do that. The other vaccine which got discussed at the DCGI's vaccine committee meeting with the Drug Control Journal with the subject expert group was the Make in India, Made in India vaccine from ICMR, from NIV. They gave the virus to Bharat Biotech, and what they did is they inactivated the virus using alum, and the Covaxin has finished phase 2 data, and they have started phase 3 data. So obviously, when they applied for the vaccine, they said, please do more data in phase 3, come back to us, and once we see that data, then we'll give you probably in interim results and emergency use authorization. So they were also turned back for want of more data. The third company which had applied for emergency use authorization, Pfizer, did not come for the meeting only because they were waiting on Thursday for their approval in the United States. Mind you, Pfizer is the first vaccine, which is an mRNA vaccine with a 95% efficacy stored at minus 70 degrees centigrade, which was approved in United Kingdom first, already being administered to people in United Kingdom, including doctors, including doctor friends of ours who have taken the vaccine. Then, of course, it was approved in Bahrain, Canada, and United States. So 4 countries on the earth have approved the Pfizer vaccine already. And the whole night, US FDA had a live session of the vaccine approval. And this vaccine, if applied in India and if they are available, will get a fast track approval. But they have not yet gone to the drug controller with their global data, because probably when the meeting was convened, They had yet to finish the US FDA presentation. The next in the pecking order is the Zy-Covid DNA vaccine. It is made by Zydus Cadila in collaboration with Department of Biotechnology from India, and it has finished phase 2 trial and has started phase 3 trial. Again, a very, very exciting vaccine. It's the Indian equivalent of an mRNA vaccine, and it's very likely that even with this vaccine in the phase 3, if they have some exciting interim results in a month and a half, it would get its approval. The other vaccine which is touted and available in the world is the Russian vaccine, Sputnik 5. It's again an inactivated human adenovirus vaccine. And just as we talk, actually the Oxford AstraZeneca group and Sputnik group globally are already collaborating. But in India, the Sputnik 5 will undergo a phase 2 trial, phase 3 trial, which will start now by the Dr. Reddy's labs. This is from the Gamaleya National Center in Russia. And this vaccine also, just like the Zydus vaccine, as well as the Bharat Biotech vaccine, might get an EUA after interim results of phase 3. So we have probably see them 2 to 12 weeks away. We have probably the Covaxin from Bharat Biotech, Zy-Covid from Zydus Cadila, Sputnik from Dr. Reddy's labs, anywhere from around 2 to 3 months away. That's where we stand. But there is a lot of excitement around these vaccines, both for efficacy and safety. And our regulators are very, very careful and mindful that they do not want to suddenly launch the vaccine on the Indian population till they are not satisfied with the safety, efficacy, storage, transportation, distribution, and availability of the vaccine. So these are the vaccines which are likely to come. Which are the other vaccines which are actively being looked at, which will come maybe 3 or 6 months from now? The other vaccine which will come is the NVX-CoV2373, which is a protein subunit vaccine. It is called as Novavax. The phase 3 is under consideration in India, and it is also being manufactured by the Serum Institute. The other vaccine, which is the Johnson-Janssen vaccine, which is collaborated with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, USA, is being made by Biological Evans. And that's a protein antigen-based vaccine. Preclinical animal studies are concluded, and phase 1 plus phase 2 clinical trials have started in India. So again, these are the little longer time vaccine which will come. The very proud thing is, do we have mRNA technology in India? Because India has some of the best scientists on planet Earth. And most of the scientists working in US, Europe, and all over the world are again of Indian origin. So we have Genova in Pune with collaboration with HDT in United States. They are making the HGCO19 mRNA vaccine. Its preclinical studies are over, and they have commenced phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trial in India. And the other vaccine, which again is very, very excited, is the inactivated rabies vector platform, Bharat Biotech vaccine, with the Thomas Jefferson University in the preclinical advanced stage. And also, Bharat Biotech is developing a nasal spray for the vaccine. So these are all vaccines which are likely to come. Okay, but the previous vaccines which I told you are likely to be available and will be administered soon. Which vaccine to come, which vaccine to take, probably we'll discuss some other day once the vaccine data is available. Right now, the data for India is pending. We are at least earliest 1 to 2 weeks away from the first vaccine company to come in. And the science of the vaccine tells us that we have to be safe, and then effective. Next slide. We have broken a world record. 1 crore tests done in the last 10 days. You can see that we have cumulatively tested more than 15 crore of the Indian population. And we can see that the first wave now is almost receding now in India. And that's a very, very, very exciting thing. And we are testing. But we need to focus on RT-PCR, and reduce the dependence on the antigen testing. So that's something which we are trying to upscale the testing. We already are going to get a CRISPR technology, so testing will be more accessible, more affordable, faster turnaround time. That's the thing to do. Next slide. But the biggest challenge we have in COVID today is COVID appropriate behavior. And in the COVID appropriate behavior space, we have masking, we have distancing. Anirudh, can we have the next slide? We have the typical sanitization, but avoiding crowds and poorly ventilated spaces. This is a Korean study which was just published last week. This is a restaurant, and this is an outbreak in a restaurant with ceiling type air conditioners. If you go to any restaurant now, and all restaurants are open all over India, you will have these ceiling type air conditioners. And you can see the arrows which are shown here. These are the airflow directions in the restaurant. And the curved edge streamline represents the air streams of the air conditioners from the wall and barrier. And you can see that there was an outbreak here, which was seen, and you can see the red spots, how much it traveled. So it is not that you have to be 6 feet away. You can be even 15 feet away. But if you have a air route, the virus will catch the route and go and affect you. So it is important that if whenever you unmask, particularly when you eat, you need to be exceptionally careful, particularly when you go to an eatery. So my first thing is, if you are home and if you are not eating but speaking, even then mask, number one. If you go to a restaurant, please mask as much as you can or try to do the best, because there could be a possibility of an air droplet transmission. And the other thing which we are noticing now is 80% of COVID is coming through social gatherings, particularly marriages. Unless it is mandatory to go for the marriages, please don't go. Please bless the couple from your house, through your Zoom, through your internet, through your digital mechanism. But unless and until we do that, we will not be able to contain the whole pandemic. We are now almost, particularly in Mumbai and Maharashtra and India, the first wave has receded. Clearly, we are seeing a change in weather. There were parts in India which had rains, which were unseasonable. We know there is a pollution going up. We know the temperatures are dropping down drastically. And we know that there is overcrowding and poorly ventilated environments. All this is a perfect recipe in 2 to 4 weeks down the line for another wave to come up. So we cannot let off our guards. And today's theme is particularly chosen by our Guru Anna, Dr. Shetty, Hari Shetty, mainly because we are seeing a phenomenon. The phenomenon, and I am not an expert in English language, nor am I an expert in psychological medicine, I felt it was like a revenge. People are flying to Dubai, people are flying to Mauritius, they are flying to Maldives, they are flying to Goa. So this is like a revenge flight. They are actually going to shop and shopping away, shoes and clothes. They are going to a restaurant and they are overcrowding the restaurant and eating and eating and eating. So there is something going wrong in their minds. After 9 months of gestation, normally human birth occurs after 9 months. People are bottled up. Yeah. And there is a release phenomenon being seen. I thought it was like a revenge phenomenon. But Dr. Shetty very mindfully, very artistically, very, very carefully corrected me and said, no, this is a time to discuss human rebellious behavior and how to contain that through resilience. So this is our theme today. I just thought that I would lay down the foundation for this theme by saying why we came to this, because we need to ensure that the next 3 months, which is December, January, and February, we do not get what Europe got. See, Europe and US has suddenly seen a surge. Can we contain the surge? It's all in the mind. If we are putting it in the mind, immunity will develop. Whether it will be herd or whether it will be through vaccine, we don't know. But can we contain it in the mind? And that is why we have Guru Anna with us. So Guru Anna, I now request you to tell our viewers, before Anirudh then asks you some questions. My question to you, Guru Anna, is that this phenomenon which a lot of my friends told me has been observed, like people are just flying, people are just going and shopping, people are just going out and eating, this whole bubble being burst, in which it carries a very palpable risk of transmission, and not only which can injure the individual's health, the people who are near and dear to them, or also to the community. So how are we going to contain their minds, Professor Shetty?
Absolutely wonderful.
I think this has been seen across the world, not only in COVID, but much before COVID. In zones where there have been wars, hedonistic behavior has been seen in Middle East and in many other countries. I would not like to name them. That
Yeah.
this is it has a mixture of reasons. One is I'm inside, let me rush out and do what I would have done in the last 9 months in one go. Next is hedonism. कल क्या होगा किसको पता आज जिंदगी का ले लो मजा. Number three is infectious hedonism,
Yeah.
which means they have gone to Dubai, I should go to Maldives. If they have gone to Gujarat, I should go to Himachal. So there are many psychological mechanisms which are in play, but how to stop it?
Hmm.
Number one, very, very important is mindfulness. So when the thought comes, I have to outsmart my neighbor or I have to do everything which I missed across the 9 months, ask yourself, take deep breaths. As I said in my breaking news, put
Yeah.
down all those thoughts on the paper because when you externalize the thoughts on the paper, you're able to look at alternatives on paper because when it remains in the mind, it's still very tough to manage. And as you put, what are the alternate thoughts? If I don't go to Dubai like my neighbor, it is all right. I will go for a walk and I will do small things which will be useful for me to feel good and to feel relaxed. I don't have to compete with anybody. Number two, everybody has gone to Dubai. I want ecstasy. And that's what happens in a globalized world where people would want to take cannabis, weed, and drugs to feel the ecstasy. I have not felt happy across 9 months, but I would say alternate thoughts. I would like to have small doses of euphoria, and in the small doses, when it gets accumulated and you experience ecstasy as the small doses go ahead. And what are the small doses? Go for a walk, go to the beach, take precautions, don't rush to any party, don't pick up the glass of beer and drink as if you have never seen beer in your life. Don't don't be very keen to put all the party pictures here and there and tell the world we are partying again, we are back to our old system. No, and that is something which is wrong. Third is I feel stressed and I want to de-stress myself in one day or in 3 days of holiday. In 3 days, I should get completely de-stressed across 9 months. No, that's not the way the brain works. De-stress in small doses. Tell yourself what are you doing. Look at the alternative behaviors and the alternative thoughts we can really do, and talk to people who are reasonable, slow, and moving, which means Shashank knows that in the elderly people, psychiatrists or endocrinologists start low and go slow. It's a very big sentence. Start low and go slow. So, my dear friends, tell the world you have a right to enjoy, you have a right to buy, you have a right to eat, you have a right to meet. But start low, go slow. Very difficult. But when you start practicing and you feel good here, you look at your own health and you do not have to compete with anybody. You do not have to do what others do. And you do not have to believe that you're going to die tomorrow and you need to enjoy today. For this, breathing, meditation, yoga, and vipassana are the vehicles and the motivators for you to start low and go slow. Chase euphoria, not ecstasy. Chase relaxation and not absolute crazy ecstasy, which you think will help you feel good. After a bout of crazy ecstasy, which you think you've got, you will get a withdrawal symptom and you would want to do that all over again. Remember, a lot of people come back from Lonavala, Goa, and many places. I have in my own building, somebody came from Dehradun after marriage and I've got infected. So the issue is Shashank speaks about COVID appropriate behavior. The virus is around. They're not trying to scare you, but they're asking you to be a little more careful for a little more time so that you can have euphoria continuously throughout life and not ecstasy once in a while.
Absolutely, Dr. Shetty, wonderfully said. I want to ask a question that is actually related to that. That this resilience that we want to instill in adults, it's a little difficult when it is about kids. How do we convince them to be more resilient? So there's this one question that's come. My family is fine in these times, but I have three kids, and I want to build resilience in them. Do you have any tips for me?
Well, resilience is a lifelong activity. It's an attitude which is built across experiences. And do not try to build resilience in your kids. Start with yourself. First is, do your kids watch you being simple in today's world, foregoing a lot of luxuries, foregoing a lot of visits and trips, foregoing a lot of joys which you are used to? And children model and imitate via their parents and their loved ones. That is number one. Number two is, do not plan everything for your family because you are an adult. Let the planning happen in a meeting with the family. It's like this that we have been, as Dr. Shashank said, we have been invited for a marriage. What are the things we need to do? And as you discuss, you'll find one of them saying, "Let us go, yeah, let's forget it, or enough of all this. I want to meet my sister-in-laws and my nephews." And but when there is a group, you'll find that sane voices also come up, and the sane voices would always measure and say, what is the loss if I do not go for the marriage? Will they not speak to me? Will they get very upset? They might get upset, they might not speak. Make a cost benefit analysis of the entire situation. And as you have a group, the entire family asking you questions and talking, discussing in the cost benefit analysis, ultimately, the benefit you are looking at is safety, life, and future. And slowly you'll find that through this entire churning, resilience is built not only in the family, because but not only in the children but also the adults, because resilience is an infectious virus and much more useful for us to survive than the coronavirus and beat the coronavirus. Number two, see that your children and you are connected to sane families around, those who practice sane behavior. Connectedness also improves the resilience, because there's a sense of belonging with the sane world. I'm not saying that you have to be completely sane, but largely sane and mildly insane. So when you are connected with the world which is largely sane and mildly insane, resilience improves. Number three, when there is a problem posed to you, and when there's a problem which has happened in the community, in your building, in your chawl, or your neighborhood, or among your friends, sit down and analyze the problem as if it's happening to you. And you'll find a lot of sane sentences, a lot of safe statements, a lot of scientific statements are discussed. And slowly the mind gets wired of what we need to do together and what we need to avoid. Then there will be anxious moments in the family, and when anxiety is high, sanity is low. When anxiety is high, high risk behaviors are very common. So also help the children to release their negative thoughts and anxiety by allowing them to share their rubbish in your understanding. When you listen to the nonsense of the child, they will listen to your sense. And that is one of the most powerful arguments for me across my life with all children in all contexts. Also, they might say, "Why did uncle go away just like that into the marriage, and now he has got infected? What she should have done?" So they will say they should have done this, but at the same time accept uncle's state as it is and find out how can uncle survive this infection and what is it he should do. So a lot of stories and solution to the stories builds the entire resilience. But if something is happening inside your house and the children are anxious, let them go through the anxiety. Remember, the resilience software is not an easy software to be wired. It happens with some pain, it happens with anxiety, it happens with a little sleeplessness, no sleep, it happens with turmoil. But when the turmoil is managed by rational thinking, by connectedness, being with others around you. And when there is a success and the positive side, there's an aha feeling, there's a eureka feeling, dil mange more. And whatever you have been through the entire struggle becomes the process. And when you feel that you have overcome this small event in the big event, you'll find that the resilience virus is built. Remember, never waste a crisis, and there is accelerated learning in a crisis. And see to it that your children and your family are observing others also and are learning from their teachers, their friends, doctors, and from our webinar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shetty. Dr. Joshi, I have a question related to children again. I think one of our viewers, Supriya Rajesh Singh, had actually asked last week. We couldn't take that question up. But she's really worried about the schools reopening in January. She has a daughter who is in 10th grade, and CBSE has announced that they will be having their exams in January 8th, 9th, or something like that. So, in this time of resilience, we are also opening up our economy. We are also opening up the schools, etc. So how to take care of yourself in these times?
So, for Supriya Rajesh Singh, one thing is very clear cut, that we have to slowly, as Dr. Harish Shetty said, do everything slowly, unlock.
Right.
And when we unlock slowly, we have to do it very carefully. So,
Right.
in that, first is the seniors of the school,
Yeah.
which is 11th and 12th, 9th and 10th, they are opening up.
Mhm.
Then will be the secondary school, which will be 5th and 7th. And then will be the primary schools, and then will be the kindergartens.
Right.
Because behavior
Mm.
is possible to be inculcated in them. Also remember, and Dr. Shetty will bear with me out on this, that we have artificially created a 10 and 10 plus 2 system,
Right.
which generates an unnecessary, extraordinary pressure, as if it's like a milestone. And I think
Right.
this milestone needs to be abolished. And Dr.
Already
Shetty is
abolished. Already abolished.
we
Yes.
have an education policy.
Yeah.
If we have a no 10th exam, no 12th exam, people will be lost. And the educational, parallel education which occurs will suffer
Right.
a economic downfall.
Mm.
But remember that the pressure to perform goes very high. And therefore, I relate with Supriya Rajesh. First of all, don't get scared. If you have to go to school virtually, it's all voluntary, mind you. First thing is
Yes.
that all schooling is voluntary.
Correct.
So if your parent or your child is not comfortable going, or you are not capable or confident of handling COVID appropriate behavior because of any difficulty, you don't have to go. It is not mandatory. That's the first thing. तो attendance नहीं देने वाला है वो.
Mhm.
Second thing is, if you go and follow behavior, it's okay. There is a statistical chance that you might land up with COVID. In that, your recovery is going to be better.
Right.
Remember, children have more melatonin and more thymus, more T cells, and more immune power. As you grow adults,
Mm.
your melatonin comes down, serotonin goes up. And they need to see Shetty, and Shetty. And serotonin, and melatonin is less, and less. But in children, particularly of this age, they should not get anxious. They should not increase their serotonin when their melatonin is high. They have very good thymus, which clears the virus, particularly below 10 years of age. They have very good immunity, which clears everything up. And they can follow some behavior. So I think we have these milestones. Rather than generating stress on the child and you as a parent, I would say take one baby step on one day and go as it goes. But don't get fear. Don't let fear overcome you. Exam has to be given. It is better to get done with it. But try to be behaving appropriately. And God forbid if a mishap happens, okay, mostly the recovery is going to be 95%.
Hmm.
Because usually most children and adults without comorbidities have done extraordinarily well. Unless there is a
Correct.
serious illness with the
Yeah.
child, I would not hesitate if the
Okay.
public health authorities feel it is appropriate to go.
Okay.
The only challenge is if you have a person living in your house with a
Yeah.
comorbidity or a senior citizen, then you need some degree of caution and care and reverse isolate them because they are going to go in a crowded cluster. Also, most of our schools are not
Hmm.
air conditioned. They
Yeah.
have a lot of cross ventilation. And I would say that we have to also encourage them to do a lot of physical activity. So I think you should not get scared about schools at all. Yes, very mindfully we have to open up school just like economy. And if a time comes that they have to be relocked, they will be relocked. But I think we
Hmm.
have to start educational programs. And a lot of it is virtual also. And mind you,
Hmm.
it is voluntary. So if you still have that fear overcoming you so much, I would urge you to come and meet Guru Anna so that then he can handhold you and your child to handle this better, or
Absolutely.
any friendly neighborhood psychiatrist who you feel is appropriate and deemed correct. But I think
Yeah.
it's important not to avoid this,
Hmm.
not to be fearful of this. Face it with caution, with care, with positivity and happiness. Be happy that the school is opening up. Be happy that you're going to, bond with people. But you have to bond with a mask. You have to bond with a distance. You have to bond with a no touch technique, no hug technique. You see, so you have to do it in a different way. You
Yeah.
can do this. You can do this. You can do so many
Innovative
other things
behavior, like you
like
call
a
it.
child. Be playful, mindful, careful, and with mask and soap.
Yeah. Dr. Shetty, any thoughts on that?
Absolutely, in the sense, in a school very close to my house, the online exams. There were some online exams, and I asked some children to go and play outside, and they said no, they have tuition prelims. My dear parents, if you allow the children to play in a safe environment, their anxiety will go down. They'll be much better off. And remember, as Dr. Shashank said, 10 standard marks are not asked for any visa. After 6 months, everybody forgets the 10 standard
Them.
marks. 10 standard marks is basically a promotional exam. So let your children play as much as they can before they go to school. And as doctor says, ask the school for a safety protocol and see that they are followed. I think he's answered that question beautifully.
Absolutely. One more question for you. So this is from somebody who is in a public office. So he says, "I'm a politician. My family is fine, but there is tension in the air. Are we mentally ill?"
Well, Dr. Amit Ghosh also had pointed this to us last time that
Yes.
we need to look at the early signs of mental issues in COVID times. Well, you can become ill if you do not follow simple procedures. Number one, is the family communicating emotions? It is more required now during a crisis. During every crisis, communicating emotions is one of the most important healing exercise. Number one. Number two, are you afraid to communicate emotions because the other person might get upset, the other person may not understand? And when somebody communicates emotions, do you give advice immediately? The person who's communicating emotions is wanting you to validate the emotions, accept it as it is, and not answer immediately. So, this exercise will help. Let the father communicate it to the mother, and the mother should listen. And this has to be told. You have to listen, and let the mother communicate the emotions to the father. And when the communication of emotions starts, anxiety goes down, concentration improves, anxiety goes down, bonding improves, anxiety goes down, cohesion improves, anxiety goes down, and connectedness improves. If you do not do this, if there are five pressure cookers in the family and they're all working through five different whistles, you'll find that one of them will explode on the other. And what happens is others also fall. So communicate your emotions, respect the emotions which are communicated, accept it. And if somebody is boiling and you cannot really listen or feel the emotions and feel the emotions, then you need to take help. So the early signs are if there is a quiet silence in the family, if the family's communication has gone down, if people are avoiding each other and not speaking to each other because they're scared to hurt the other or cause anger or difficult emotions in the other, if
Mm.
if major issues are not talked in a family and discussed, if there is slight irritability coming up more than what it was, if a little sleep, people who have been up at 7:30 or up at 5:30, remember these early signs: little sleep, little irritability, silence, absence of communication, discomfort around each other has to be tackled immediately so that this does not ex, explode into an anxiety phenomenon, into generalized anxiety, into panic attacks, or in the future, anxiety depression. So that is what you need to do with the family. Communicate your emotions, however difficult it is.
Excellent. Dr. Joshi and Dr. Shetty, now I have one question, one for resilience, one for rebellion, each for both of you. First, I'm going to start with Dr. Joshi. First, for resilience, Deepak Mehra asks, using a prebiotic for modifying gut microbiomes to ensure right balance of positive and negative microbes. Can this help boost our immunity? So, resilience for the body.
So Deepak Mehra ji, you ask a very good question. They say it is not important for a human being for good health and live long what is his bank balance in the bank. But it is important to have the right bank balance
Hmm.
in the gut, in the colon. The
Very well
bacteria of
said.
the colon determine how long will you live and how
Right.
healthy you will be. And this
Yeah.
is the this is the truth.
Yeah.
So you are very right. Our ancestors' food, the best way to pick up this is
Hmm.
whatever food our ancestors ate, our great grandmothers made for us, is the
Hmm.
best food provided we are agrarian. We go on the field, we do physical activity, we get up in the morning, at
Right.
sunrise you are out, and you retire when there is sunset. So if you follow that agrarian lifestyle, which was 200 years back,
Correct.
and eat the curd, which has a lot of probiotic and prebiotic, which is pre-mixed, you are going to be healthy and you will have
Right.
the right gut microbiome. Unfortunately, we are eating fast foods,
Hmm.
fried foods. We are eating foods with preservatives, which are
Yes.
toxic chemicals. We are
Yeah.
eating grains, which are intoxicated and contaminated with a lot of environmentally disrupting chemicals.
Absolutely.
Lot of fruits and vegetables which we eat are all artificially manipulated. Ripening of the mango is made by carbide, which is actually a cancer producing substance. So it is important that in COVID times and even in general times, we
Hmm.
eat a balanced diet. And we try
Absolutely.
to get food from our buttermilk and curd, but if we can't get it, we have artificial preparations of this gut microbiota, which are pre and probiotic, which can keep our gut health in check.
Hmm.
But if they are
Hmm.
not kept in check, that is called as symbiosis. That means there is a partnership between good bacteria and bad bacteria. And the good
Correct.
bacteria are more, and the bank balance of the bad bacteria is less. Then you
Okay.
are in good health, and the gut is the second mouth. We always say the stomach is the second mouth. We have the first mouth, which is a filter for air, water, and food. Air goes in the lungs, COVID goes in the lungs. Which is the second target of COVID? Second target of COVID is the stomach, which is
Yeah.
where the food and the water goes. Then you have the hydrochloric acid trying to destroy it. Then you have the bacteria in the colon trying to destroy it by making some chemicals, which are cytokines and lipopolysaccharides. And therefore, there is the first lining is the air lining. Second lining is the gut immune system. So this
Hmm.
is called a GALT, gut
Okay.
associated lymphoid tissue, which means
Okay.
that our gut or our
Hmm.
intestines have the immune function.
Hmm.
It's an inbuilt function. This is the uniqueness of human beings. God has crafted us so beautifully that for everything it is precise. For
Hmm.
every human being, there is precision, and therefore, having the right gut bank balance will keep you going healthy, will keep you living long. And as I said, our ancestors and the best prebiotic, probiotic you can have is uncontaminated, unadulterated curd or buttermilk. And there are many, many Indian foods which have a lot of good microbes. And of course, if you still want to have something, you can go to your friendly neighborhood doctor. He'll be happy to prescribe you in a solution a good gut probiotic or prebiotic. But it's very, very good as an immunity booster. Yes, I agree with him.
Excellent.
Excellent
Uh,
answer. Brilliant answer, Shashank. Loved it.
Dr. Shetty, now the resilience question for you. Dr. Harish, we know your Panchamrut, but can you please simplify the stress busters for us?
Absolutely. Remember one thing: when there was no COVID and everything was all right, naturally and automatically you would do small things that felt you made you feel nice. You had a lot of mood lifters and mood shifters. Suddenly, if you had a bad day, you would listen to a song. I listen to this song, Chal Ke Tujhe Main Leke Chala, song of Kishore Kumar. On a bad, so automatically you hear a song. Or on a bad day or a difficult day, you pick up the phone and speak to somebody. You do that without COVID. And there are a million small examples which human beings use. But there are other human beings also who would want to be hurt and they stab themselves and withdraw and remain isolated. That is dangerous behavior. So resilience is not about succeeding with every crisis. Resilience is also about failing. And you build resilience when you analyze your failure. You don't build any resilience when you blame luck, fortune, God, neighbors, friends, and relatives. You build resilience when you fail, but you analyze the failure. At the same time, little stress busters are just walking up and down, the walking backwards sometimes. Don't fall down and don't hit anybody. Lying on the sofa and talking about small things in life with your children, cracking jokes in the most difficult circumstances, cracking jokes with loud ones can break the monotony and make you feel better. Eating healthy is also a stress buster. Eating on time is a stress buster. Drinking enough water is also a stress buster. Looking at the sky is also a stress buster, though you might not see any stars in the metropolitan cities. Picking up the phone and talking to the neighbor is also a stress buster. Using watercolors without reason is also a stress buster. You don't have to do big things all the time. You
Right.
can do little things which are your mood shifters and your mood lifters. Remember, you may identify them by going back into your life and asking yourself, what would you do when your father shouted at you as a small child? What would you go and do? You would hold the pallu of your mother, but this time you can hold the pallu or the shirt of your spouse, or you can pick up your child and sit and chat. When there's a spouse war, chatting with the child is the most relaxing because they come up with beautiful solution. Itna kyun jhagarte ho tum? And they will come with solution. Also, doing crazy things, going and just buying a coconut, just going down and buying for a smaller and buying something. If you do not do these small things, you will do all the wrong big things. You will go for shopping and you will become a shopaholic. You will pick up the drink and get three pegs and feel you're nice. Other day somebody said, "मैं पीता हूँ तो मुझे शांति लगता है," because you're not doing the small thing. Or you might go on the bolt and trade irrationally, irresponsibly. So when you do small things which are healthy, you save yourself from doing big things which are very unhealthy. So choose your stress busters, mood lifters, and mood shifters which you have been using, and add new ones as long as it's not causing any trouble to people whom you love around you.
Lovely, lovely. Also, what is the Panchamrut again? If you can repeat it for our.
Well, Panchamrut is the same Panchamrut which works around the world: yoga, exercise, diet, sleep, and kindness.
Lovely. Lovely. Dr. Joshi, the first rebellion question for you now. Bharti Joshi says, It's been 7 months that I have had a cake now. I am pre diabetic and I feel like now eating all of the cake that I can get. What is your suggestion?
So this is a very normal question for any normal human being.
Right,
When we tell and deprive, and whenever you deprive anybody of anything, they feel very anguished,
right,
and they feel at the back of the mind that they want to rebel.
right.
So whenever you say that don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, human tendency is to go and do that.
Correct.
So if you say that don't have cake, behave yourself, then that tipping point comes. And this
Hmm.
happens with diabetes because we have to be very restrictive.
Correct.
We, even the American Diabetic Association, Indian Diabetic Association, British Diabetic Association says you can have up to 5% of
Hmm.
your carbohydrates from simple sugars.
Okay.
So occasionally in your cup of tea, if you put a little bit of sugar, or occasionally if you have a little bit of a cake, like a morsel of a cake, or occasionally if you have a little bit of sweet or a mango slice, it is okay. Unfortunately, we don't know how to draw a Lakshman Rekha. We are not tasters, and we
Yeah.
taste too frequently. So
Yeah.
what happens is, I told one of my patients that you can have one slice of mango per
Hmm.
day for 2 days. He said, I heard you have one slice of mango, and he had it every 10 minutes.
Sing. Oh God.
See, the point is, they have selective deafness. Such people have selective deafness. They have heard it, but they have to show and make an excuse. This is a very typical rebellious trait.
Correct.
And this rebellious trait has to be contained by mindfulness,
Hmm.
by making them taste
Hmm.
and contain. This is
Correct.
a this is an art which they have to master. I tell many of my patients that if you want to have that little morsel of cake, have it and then do a 15-minute extra brisk walk and
Hmm.
burn those calories. But there are some no-nos. For
Yeah.
example, every diabetic, I may sometimes say no, absolutely not. Somebody is
Hmm.
a type 1 diabetic who needs insulin for life. Somebody has brittle diabetes. Somebody has kidney failure, heart failure. And in
Correct.
them, they want to cheat and cheat. They have come back from hospital. I would be a little more careful.
Right.
As long as you are able to do things within your limits and within your Lakshman Rekha, we
Yeah.
pretty much allow a few allowances. But unfortunately, because we are not able to have a trust quotient with our patients, and we
Yeah.
are not able to partner and negotiate with them for a shared decision making, and I'm sure Dr. Amit Ghosh said it, and Dr.
Yeah.
Guru Anna will tell you, getting the patient as a friend to
Hmm.
partner in his behavior is a journey.
Right.
So I often tell them that if you are going to have a cake, have it in front of me. I will have a little taste of it and go outside. There are 20 people outside sitting in the clinic. Feed all of them a little, little, little. So rather than the whole thing going inside your stomach, increase the sugar, learn to share, taste and share. And that's the solution.
Wonderful.
A 200 calorie cake got
Yeah.
distributed equitably in an
Yeah.
equanimous manner where caloric redistribution and everybody had the taste, but nobody must go back to eat it again and again. So
Wonderful.
breaking this change is a mindfulness. I
Yeah.
have learned this over a period of time.
Yeah.
After learning from Guru Anna Shetty, I have started now adapting this in my practice.
Yeah.
And actually, if you make up your mind, you can draw a line. It is not easy. It is not
Yeah.
easy to draw a line, but
True.
I think one needs to be understanding that sometimes you need to draw that line. The
Absolutely.
point is, there is a fine line in this.
Hmm.
Some people are impulsive,
Yeah.
and after impulsive, guilt comes in. So it's a cycle. So they will binge the cake on impulse.
Yeah.
Once they've eaten, they'll go into a guilt complex.
Correct.
And after that guilt complex, they'll say, वैसे भी अभी एक खाया है, चार खाया तो क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? Then the sugar goes up to 550. Then they'll end up in the hospital in the ICU. And then they damage their kidneys and the heart. They don't understand that every sugar spike is
Yeah.
hurtful to the arteries of the heart, the kidney, the brain. And therefore, the sugar attack may not, it's a silent attack. It
Right.
It's like white ants. You know, when
Hmm.
you get white ants on wood, it erodes. The wood doesn't look bad from outside, but the whole cupboard is gone. Similarly, all the time you will cheat. You are not cheating me. You are not cheating Anirudh. You are not cheating Guru Anna or Dr. Harish Shetty. You are cheating your own self. So I think the most important thing in resilience is remember, do not cheat your own self. And when you walk that journey in a mindful way, you will draw the line. And if you want to taste within your Lakshman Rekha, we are absolutely okay with it. So now don't
Yeah.
go back and say that Dr. Shashank said on the show that he said it's okay to have a little bit of taste and then use it as a cause to
Yeah.
fight with your near and dear ones, to
Right.
negotiate with them. You have to self control. It's a
Absolutely.
process of evolution. It's a process which has been inscribed from our Vedic literature for sannyas. It's a process to unite with God, and therefore drawing that Lakshman Rekha is so very critical. Mindfulness is all about that. Mindfulness is about drawing the Lakshman Rekha. Mindfulness also, remember, should be pleasurable, should not
Yeah.
be painful. Minute
Right.
there is pain, there is fear, there is guilt, you are likely to break more. Minute there
Absolutely.
is pleasure, there is sharing, there is happiness, the likelihood of success is more. So it's a art, it's a journey, and we need to handhold it. I want all my diabetic patients to have a little taste with a lot of smile and happiness, but do a lot of activity to get that energy back, get that bubble back, so that they burn that calorie of that little taste which they indulged in.
Lovely. What a
Absolutely,
wonderful
absolutely.
example.
In fact, I have this weakness for rice. South Indians, so I cannot manage rice. So what I do, which may be of use, is when I come home, I tell myself this is the quantity I'm going to eat.
Hmm.
This is what is necessary for me, and I will not eat a little more. But still, when I enter and I have to serve my food, I see that rice in that entire bowl, a large amount of rice. I pick up a little, but I tell myself, and 8 out of 10 times I succeed. The second most important thing is keeping yourself starved for a long time. You tend to eat
Yeah.
a lot, and that is something which happens. So, a lot of vegetables to substitute for carbs is essential. But one thing, Shashank, which helps me also, is that see that the portion available to you in the house is told to you by is shared with the family, and that is what is available to you. Sometimes people say caviar, doctors say a lot. And I think Shashank has beautifully explained. But Shashank, after the explanation, I am not surprised. When you start your clinic, a lot of women and men would come and start sharing cake with all this.
I love that example. Absolutely.
And also, Anirudh and Shashank,
Yeah.
what happens to your thought when you think about rice? What happens to the cake when you think about in your mind? Do you see a big cake or do you see a small portion? Do you see a plate full of rice or do you see stuff? So changing the imagery of the food which you eat is also a very important exercise. And as Shashank said, you can only do it. Nobody else can do it for you. Also, what is in your fridge? We have
Yeah.
brought down the amount of chocolates in the fridge because me and my younger son can steal and eat, and so that is very painful. In fact, not keeping chocolates in the fridge is so painful. As doctors, we get a lot of but I think it's a practice we should all indulge in, and it's
Yeah.
a mind game, and that's how it is.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
No,
Shashank, for the beautiful answer.
yeah, lovely. I think Bharti Joshi, if you want to go to Dr. Joshi's clinic probably and share the cake, then you may go. Dr. Shetty, drawing on to that recklessness and the rebellion again, quotient from the mind, the rebellion of the mask, that's the biggest rebellion that's happening currently, at least in our city, as we are seeing. People just literally not wearing mask and saying, "Ke kidhar hai corona? Hai kidhar? Corona to gaya abhi." So, what do we do about that rebellion?
I think all spirited citizens of Bombay and all those who care for themselves and others, and Dr. Shashank and me have been emphasizing, One is I generally very gently ask people to wear the mask. When I'm in an auto, I was in an auto today. I had no car. I very gently told him, "Naam kya hai? Mask pehne go to acha rahega." And as I left the auto, I said, "I'm a doctor. These are the three things you're doing for yourself. You'll save your family." That is one. Second most important thing is that when you buy a vegetable, when you buy a fruit, when you see a friend, and when you see anybody, be the caregivers of the community and smile and say mask when just the way we also tell people to stop at the red signal. We also give free advices on so many things. I give free advice on gutka and mask to all the drivers around. In the hospital, when I see people wearing the mask on the cheek, it's known as Chico mask. Pull it down. I gently not only correct them, but I reinforce it by the thought that when you're wearing a mask, you're saving your family. And I think this movement has to go across. It should not be only visible on the signboards on the road, but it should be a movement which should start from every individual across the country and across the world. Now, there are certain individuals who are reckless, and this sort of recklessness is also seen in young adults, and they want to dare, and they want to dare. Chalo, corona kya tu aja, मैं हूँ इधर. I think I would again, these young boys very difficult to talk on the motorbikes, but sometimes I get down of my car, ask the bike fellow to come on the side, and I tell them gently. Remember, the gentle, calm tone really touches, because ultimately in life it's not the words, it's the tone which matters.
Right.
And your hand on the shoulder, and tell them that we have lost so many people, we don't want to lose more. You might not die, but you might kill your parents, and please share this in your community. If we can build ambassadors of of COVID gently, without making it to a formal body, each one of us, if we do this, I think that will really help. Lastly, there are some people who are aggressive non-maskers, and they also infect others. And some of
Yeah.
them need some a little tit- deterrence from the authorities. But mostly, I think a lot of gentle activism is something which will help all of us. And though, Shashank, all that news about 75% herd immunity and 55% herd immunity is also being generalized by people by saying that आया herd immunity, अभी पहनने की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं. But I got a call from Gandhidham, from Sterling Hospital, of a young boy who was in Bombay, a young doctor who was infected in Bombay, but when he went to Gandhidham, he got reinfected again. So all those guys who have got COVID and probably having antibiotics are acting bold and lucky. You can get reinfected, as Dr. Shashank has said again and again, and I've seen these live cases. So, my dear friends, we as doctors can only appeal. And if all the doctors appeal all the time and think that the city is ours, I'm not trying to protect me and my family. I'm trying to protect me and my community, me and my state, me and my nation, and me and Mother Earth. And that spirit has to percolate, and this spirit can be very infectious. Shashank, you want to say something more?
Yeah. Any last words?
So I think I agree with Dr. Guru Anna completely. I think don't be complacent. Three things. Number one, if you have got COVID, you think abhi to mere ko COVID nahi hoega. That's very wrong. You can get reinfected. You can get a bad infection, and you may lose your life. So I'm not scaring you, but that's the reality. Number two, those antibodies decline in 3 to 6 months. They'll be gone. So all COVID infected patients also who have recovered very well, congratulations. You've done a fantastic job. But you need to take your vaccine, and you need to mask even after the vaccine. That's the more important thing. So that's the
Right.
first thing. Second thing is, not wearing a mask is not an answer. It's a statement you are trying to make recklessly and irresponsibly, and you're cheating yourself, you're cheating people around you, and cheating your near and dear ones. It only shows that you really are upset, angry, and you are not able to contain yourself. See, we none of us wanted to be chained at home
Yeah.
by a small little tiny microbe. And when there is uncertainty, there is anxiety, and there is frustration, and there is anger. But remember, try to do small little things which make you happy, to make you forget all these uncertainties. And a little bit of mask, a little bit of style on the mask, a little bit of appropriate behavior, a little bit of motivating others to wear a mask is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You see, also in masking, you can do meditation. You see, there is something called as Maun Vrat, means
Yeah.
talk less. See, I had this bad habit of talking too much. And I realized over my personal and professional journey that talking too much is like verbal diarrhea. So masking actually allows you to do Maun Vrat, which our rishis and munis were doing. So remember that this is like a time for vipassana, time to relive what when you do sannyas and when you will do all the chintan and manan. Masking allows you to talk less. It allows you to segregate the air. Not only it prevents COVID, it prevents a lot of airborne diseases.
Yeah.
It saves your lungs and makes your lung greener. So I think do not fight against the tide. See, I think we are swimming against the tide. And swimming against the tide is not worth it, if you ask me. So that's my second message. Third thing is that you need to have not only just COVID appropriate behavior, but I come back to the habit. Eat on time, eat very slowly, feed others of all the foods which you are told not to eat, distribute and eat, be happy, okay? Eat the right food, try to do some Surya Namaskar, yoga, Utak Baitak, build some muscle, do some Kapalbhati if indicated. Okay, try to play a sport, mental sport, physical sport, but mask sport. Beyond that, sleep on time. At 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock would be the best, but at least for a good 7 hours. And most important is share your happiness, smile well, and be happy, and love your own self. And I think it's important that we do that. I think if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. And then you'll always be negative. So, this, if you start loving yourself and masking yourself, be happy with yourself, I think we have gone through a journey. I think this is one time you need to self protect yourself, your near and dear ones, your community, your country, and the world. We all love you, we all need you, and we all need you to wear that mask to protect you, your near ones, and everybody around you. I wish better sense prevails, and I wish that at least इधर तो थोड़ा ट्यूबलाइट something will tingle that this गुस्सा है ना गुस्सा छोड़ दो,
Great.
keep it and park it for some other time.
Lovely.
Let's convert the rebellion into resilience.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
completely agree with you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming, joining every week. And thank you, Dr. Shetty and Dr. Joshi, for so patiently, so resiliently, always taking all of the questions. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.